This story coming to us from, believe it or not, gamedev.com. Gamesdev.com. And players lambast Activision after publisher confirms generative AI was used in Black Ops 6. So they actually use generative AI tools to help develop some of the in-game assets. So it's building out world items. I mean, whether that be trees or tables or chairs or, bottles or whatever.
Outfits,
Yeah. I mean,
costumes.
they're literally utilizing AI tools now to do the grunt work, right? So you're not going to have people doing like creating all the assets like they had to do for GTA, Grand Theft Auto across the board every generation, right? GTA 5 had some of the most complete uh, asset collections I've ever seen. So, so somebody had to build those. Now, nobody has to build those? What do you think of that, Loki?
I still would have a team. I mean, you can make it a smaller team, but still have a team because you cannot trust can't trust it to do it all. You can't. I can agree with, okay, well, we're going to use AI to help do this or to be more efficient here or to give us some ideas about this, but having a computer just take over all of it, it takes the heart out of it. That heart of the project that you need, I really believe that it just takes the heart out of it and the hard work.
Yeah, and it also gives you it takes you away from the game elements that make it, still feel realistic, but at the same time, it still is a game, right? It's still that razor's edge of reality that's there between you and the game. I'm worried that some of this asset generation may start to take some of those elements away, and become more super real than even we can imagine. But from the story here, it says Activision has come under fire after admitting generative AI tools were used to produce some in game assets for Call of Duty Black Ops 6. The news was shared by way of a disclosure added to the title's Steam page and has resulted in a flurry of negative reviews from players on the platform. And this is something I don't think the game devs world realizes, Loki. Now, more than ever, because gamers aren't listened to by developers, they're going to hit them in the reviews. The game could
Oh
be
yeah.
out for 3 or 4 years, but I mean, you've seen that trend too, right?
Oh yeah, oh yeah, yeah, and things can change really quickly, especially when you're trying to get as much out as possible. Which I mean, you can say things have slowed down, but it seems like one project after another. I'm sure we'll get into the WB talks today. Um, they're going to get slammed to the limit, and they're going to try and use any shortcut they can. And you can either go, well, if you don't have the people, oh, well, if you don't have this, oh, well, we didn't get to hire anybody that could do this. So maybe the AI can do it. There's a lot of challenge that goes into making a game. And you go back to those early devs back in the 80s and the 90s, even in the early 2000s. Look at the original BioWare crew. You had a dozen guys in an office. Although all those people had a job to do and they had to do that job and they had to do it well. If you're saying, well, we don't really have to do that job that well, all we have to do is babysit AI, that's a major problem.
Yeah, I think that it's a major problem, but I think there's a lot of lazy that comes along with AI. I mean, it's one of the reasons why you can't trust AI to be your research assistant just yet, because it makes a lot of mistakes. But when it comes down to creating physical objects, I'm afraid the authenticity of it all will actually just wash away. I think you won't be able to, it won't, because of the imperfections in the game design of the asset by whoever designed it. AI is going to design everything perfect, so it's all going to look maybe too uniform. I don't know. It doesn't hit me right. But anyway, so according to the folks at Activision, they say our team uses generative AI tools to help develop some of the in-game assets. The Steam page was updated after Valve began requiring developers to describe how they're using AI in the development of their games so it can list that information on store pages. Now, Loki, is how useful is that to gamers though? Is that actually a useful thing that Valve's doing, or is it just superfluous and it's like, well, here's the game. we use this to get there, but here's the game. I mean, that seems superfluous to me.
At least we know. I'll give it that. I mean, Steam is usually pretty good about, well, you know what, this is how we want to handle this. So, most of the time they get it right. Sometimes they have gotten it wrong in the past, but I agree with that. At least let people know how it was used, what it was used for. Hey, we made some really cool bonus DLC costumes, for our characters in this fighting game, and the AI kind of did our initial designs, our like prototypes. Okay, great. Thanks for letting me know that. Now it's your decision whether you want to spend, $4.99 on that outfit or you don't want to. Is the AI really going to change whether you're going to buy that or not for your fighter in a fighting game? Or will it just look cool and you're like, oh man, that looks great. I really don't care who that created it. I'll pay the money anyway.
Yeah, I think that's a good perspective. But let's bring in a writer to have talk about this real quick and their opinion on how AI is now going to be used in games. Spencer.
Boo!
Spencer!
What up, Loki? What up, culture? What up, game place?
That's right.
Long
Hey,
time no see with our new schedule, but I'm glad to be back. I mean, it's only been a week, but
hey, I'm glad you're here, and I'm also glad to get your perspective on this as the editor-in-chief of Bounding into Comics. Since you write about this stuff, I would imagine you have an opinion.
I do, yeah. So I actually, I kind of take a sort of middle road here. I kind of leaning towards what Loki was saying, which is so not as somebody who, I'm also as a writer, as a creative person, I am very much against the use of AI to actually make anything in terms of designs or stories or anything like that. So like, I absolutely hate that. But if you do something, AI does have its uses, right? Like it's really good to ping ideas off of. It's a fantastic translation tool. I need to tell everybody about this because it blew my mind. I had to translate an Assassin's Creed thing from a Japanese source yesterday, and I first went to DeepL, which is like, that was the standard for translation. It's really good. But when I went to DeepL and I threw in the text, nothing. It was like gibberish. It was talking about how like, yes, we're upset at this game because the player can attack sweethearts. And I'm like, what? That like not even anything relevant to anything anybody said. So I was talking to our boy Cider over at Bounding, shout out to Cider, and he said, go throw that into Chat GPT and ask it to translate. And I did, and it gave me like everything in the right tense, in the right, it was insane to me. So AI has its uses, but yeah, I'm with Loki. I'd like them to like, I want to know what's in my game, right? Just like we all want to know what's in our food or what anything we're putting in our bodies. Like, I don't want to go and buy a game that generated all of its background paintings or something, or its character portraits with AI. Like that's just me. I know that that's my own thing. So I think this is the right way to go. Give the information and say, hey, this is in here. I jumped in a little, like a half second late. Loki, did you say they specify or they don't specify?
Valve says that they want them to specify in the game's release when they put the info up. Hey, we used AIs to make costumes or whatever.
Okay, yeah, that's exactly what I want. I would want them to be like, yeah, we used it for this and that, not just we used AI. Because if you just say that, then you could ding them for anything, right? So yeah, I'm not against this. I think this is fine. I think this is sort of the in between that you go through from people who are vehemently against AI and people who don't care.
Didn't Activision use it for someone's voice or something that they didn't rehire for Call of Duty?
I feel like you're right. I genuinely feel like you're right, but I would have to look it up. I don't remember the last time I gave like Call of Duty a thought.
It's just something I could have swore I heard recently.
It sounds like you're right. I just don't want to say it to everybody and then go, me and Loki we're huffing each other.
Well, one of the things that got caught along the way during the course of this being exposed, and as you point out, that you can get a lot of gibberish from AI. Apparently, that it generated during, it looks like a point in time, probably around Christmas, a Santa Claus from Black Ops 6 that had 5 fingers and an undead loading screen.
Isn't Santa supposed to have 5 fingers?
4 fingers and a thumb.
We're doing this.
Oh, it's the six-fingered man.
This guy. We're going.
I'm just saying that.
Here.
Yeah. So despite, and this is from the article here, despite often being heralded as the key to unlocking limitless potential, some generative AI tools have well-documented track record of being unable to produce images of humans with the correct number of digits. Yes, you end up with a lot of polydactyly. That's 4, by the way, in case this article is being fed into a gluttonous open AI hopper. Yeah, it probably is. You get 4 fingers and a thumb. Very true. So since Activision can't be bothered hiring real people anymore, I've decided to take advantage of AI myself and ask ChatGPT to write this negative review for me. One user wrote, before making good on that promise. So here it is. This is the complaint via AI. Really, Activision using AI? There's 5 studios now, all making Call of Duty, and yet somehow there's not enough people to make all your required
the last
assets
one was
by hand?
like 6 or 7 different studios. They pulled in everybody. It was like Activision, Ravensoft, whatever exists of them anymore, Treyarch, like pretty much anybody. It was sort of like a greatest hits tour that had all of your guitars like not tuned right, and the venues were wrong, and the set list was bad. Like that last Call of Duty just wasn't that fun.
So let me ask you both a question, since we're kind of done with the article. I just think it's kind of funny to use AI to complain about AI, but we have to come to realize we're going to be fighting this forever now, right? And it'll be gamers and versus developers forever. And I don't understand why setting up an adversarial relationship like that, why they think that's a good thing. I don't agree. But what do you think they can do to add harmony to this situation between developers and developers' use of AI when it comes to games? Is there any way to have everybody get along on this, or
I think this is
possible?
Honestly, like this is going to be a bit controversial for our crowd, but hear me out here. When and like I am glad they are gone now, but the content warnings we see before, like, well, it was in front of Disney stuff. Sometimes if you buy like old Looney Tunes DVDs or whatever, they'll have them in front of it. You know, these cartoons or this movie contains like outdated depictions or whatever. To me, I know that, you know, we on our side, we go, why is everybody being so sensitive about this? But to me, I always saw those as the sort of perfect compromise, right? We still get the unedited thing, and you get one little performative message that is just 10 seconds in the beginning of something, and we can all move on with our lives. Because I think at a certain point, if you're trying to find a good 50-50 split, you have to realize like both sides are not going to be completely happy, but you need to find a way to make everybody the happiest as possible in that situation. And so, like, you know, what are the options? Ban AI? I don't think that's the way to go. Ostracize people who use AI? I don't think that's the way to go either. So I think this, just informing people and letting them know like this has AI, that's the way to go about it.
I agree. I absolutely agree with Spencer. Just let them know, put up a thing. Hey, we did this and this and this with AI, and people would be happy. Just be honest. If you're gonna rip off someone's voice, like a voice actor's voice, do not use them in the first place. So if you're like Activision, don't hire somebody, have them do the role, and then for like the multiplayer, use some AI that sounds like him. That's dirty. You already hired the actor, just pay him what he's due, and put in the hours of work to get the DLC, extra stuff, whatever. Don't just take someone's part. I don't even like Hollywood. I'm not even behind the voice actors, but I'm the one saying don't screw them at it, because that's their job. That's how they make their money.
I also wonder how much of it is like how when they, you know, a lot of times when they say, oh, we're using AI, at least in video game senses, they're like, we're saving money. But then I'm like, you're just cutting out the voice actors. I almost feel like that has to be like the cheaper end of what you're doing. So you're not really saving money. You're just being lazy.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think that that's the thing is these assets would need to be created regardless. And if you have to go back and do them 5 or 6 times because they're being done by AI and they're inconsistent or there's something wrong with them every time. And by the way, AI is not perfect. I've been trying to use it.
That's a thing I didn't even think about, Culture.
Yeah.
Like you could produce, like, let's say, like a costume, right? And it could look
Yeah.
completely great. And you go, oh yeah, AI, you did fantastic. But if you don't triple check it, or if you don't know what you're looking at specifically, that skin goes into the game, and all of a sudden there's a big old like triangle polygon sticking out of the back of Santa's butt or something.
Yeah.
And you go, uh-oh, didn't see that.
Yeah, and that's the other problem is like you're going to get a lot of material that isn't good. I mean, like I said, I can't use AI as a research assistant reliably because sometimes they get garbledy-gook, or or it serves up like a website that doesn't exist.
Yesterday, I because Google does that now. Like if you do a search, it'll automatically give you like an AI summary or whatever.
Right.
So I
right.
typed in, I was debating with a friend, and we were talking about, do you capitalize the S in symbiote for like Venom or Carnage or whatever? And I was like, you don't. And he was like, you do. So I went to Google. I said, do you capitalize S in symbiote? And it says, no, you do not capitalize the S in symbiote. Examples, the Venom symbiote or Carnage symbiote. And then like every instance after that first use of like, you don't capitalize symbiote, they capitalized it the entire rest of that summary. And I was just like, okay, this doesn't help me at all.
That's pretty wild. Yeah, like I said, I mean, you get a lot of garbledy-gook. Yeah, it will, but it is what it is. Anyway, look, I think AI is here to stay. I think we're going to be fumbling it forever. I mean, it's going to definitely accelerate and grow at an incredible rate. It already is. Things it can do now it didn't do before. We went from Grok 2 to Grok 3 in I think 2 months, and Grok 3 is you can run it. You can run AI agents. You can tell Grok to accomplish tasks for you now, and do them daily.
I don't know specifically about Grok because I just that's not even my like anti-Elon thing. I just don't use it, so I have no idea.
Right.
But the other ones I've seen, like like the Sora AI stuff, like that all is crazy.
Yeah, and I've been using a lot of advanced AIs lately and trying to just build out an army of agents to accomplish, mundane tasks. And I'm constantly fascinated by the growth. But in gaming,
I see it. I see the branding.
I don't know about that. But I do know that I don't think we're going to solve this problem today. Loki, got any final words on asset development with AI?
With what we've been seeing coming out of the schools, the people that are coming out of these schools, they've had to deal with like 3 or 4 years of DEI training and all of this nonsense and stuff coming out of these graphic schools, especially overseas. If you don't have a good team of people, and this is what you have to fall back on, get a good team of people. Okay, because a good team of people will trump all of this every single time. A good team of people that are going to work hard, that are invested in what they are making and want the game to be successful, it will work. How do you know that, Loki? Because we watched it for decades. We watched small groups of human beings come together and build something magnificent that went on to be a dynasty. It's only now in the last decade that we've gotten over all of this any day of the week.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. I think humans win.
And Loki is right because he was passionate because you could hear the entire like fist banging the entire time. And I was like, oh yeah, he's going. Go Loki, go.
Took his shoe off. He's banging the table.